This is just purely ranting and talking. So let's talk about friendships. I and why sometimes they just don't work out, and there's nothing you can do about it. Friendships are a part of life. I feel that are very important to a person's growth and just life in general. Always having someone who's in your corner, whether that be a person from school, someone you grew up with, or whether it's a parent. Um, and oftentimes they can, in some circumstances, last a really long time. But sometimes they don't. And that is the harsh reality of life. Not everything will last as long as you want it to last. And sometimes friendships just run their course and their end, whether that be a month, a year, 10 years. Friendships, in very few cases do they last a lifetime. And they certainly don't remain the same. There's constant changing, you're changing, they're changing, the world's changing. And oftentimes that just interferes with your friendship. And I've often seen and been on the receiving end of a friendship just abruptly ending with no reason or justification. And you go down this downward spiral of like, oh my God, maybe I did something. Oh my God, maybe maybe I'm at fault. Maybe I did something wrong, or that person was just an asshole. There's nothing I could have done. And more often than not, there is no justification. It just ended. They just don't want you in their life anymore. And that can be a harsh pill to swallow because we often, as humans, try to look for a justification or to find something that proves what we're saying is right. And not every question can be answered, and not every why is answerable, There are things out of our control that we cannot control for other people. Friendships is one of those things, and sometimes they just don't want you in their life, and that's perfectly fine. And I've seen people go in downward spirals. I've gone in a spiral a few times, but it's important to realize that it's not your fault. Oftentimes. Sometimes it is, but oftentimes it's just not your fault. It's just something that happened naturally, and there's nothing you can do to change or control that. And what you choose to do with that is very important, in my opinion. I've seen people who mentally create this delusional narrative in their head that, this person was always an ass or always a snake. And my reaction to that is that I think you are the problem. Because sometimes you just have to accept the way it is. It's over. It's done. That's it. There's nothing more that you can do or could have done to do it. And you just have to move on. I am of the belief that I choose to remember the happy moments from a friendship or an acquaintanceship or whatever you want to call it, whether it be a class, whether it be a semester, whether it be college or high school or just life in general or work. There are people who will be in your life that will be constant, and there are people who will come and go. Friendships oftentimes are people who will come and go, and you have to be ready for that fact that sometimes or someday or maybe never there's no given solution. Everyone's life is different. It varies from person to person, thing to thing. So you just have to be cognizant of the fact that things can change in a second, and more often than not, there's nothing you can do about it. You have to put your pants on and be like, okay, it's fine. I choose to remember things from a happy lens. That might be delusional. I don't care. That's just the way I am. I choose to look at a time in life with a person that is no longer a part of my life in a happy lens, because I remember and cherish those moments that I had with someone. And I choose to remember them for the amazing person they were in my life, the support system they were, and all the happy times we had. And then after that, that's just it. From this period of my life, if they're in this much, I will choose to remember this much. What happened before, what happened after, is irrelevant. That person, it's like a phase. They're in a phase of your life, or a part of your life, and then they're gone. And that's fine because that helped you become who you are today. And whether you choose to remember that in a positive context or a negative context is entirely up to you, you know. Um, but I think you should definitely do some self digging and self loving before you make a decision on how you choose to remember, before you choose to remember how to remember a certain period of your life. That being said, it's also important to realize that sometimes you have to be the person to let go of a friendship. No matter how much you might mentally think you want a friendship or how much you might want to hold on for dear life, you know, like I am to this tripod, sometimes people are not good for you. They bring you down and they put you in this stage and this point in your life that you do not want to be in, nor should you be in. Whether it be toxic, whether they're bringing you down, or whether it's simply because you've outgrown a friendship. And that happens. People change, some people don't. And it's important for you to realize that you don't have to be friends with someone that you just don't feel a connection to anymore. And that's perfectly fine. Even though I just preached how it sucks on the other side of things, but you have to do what serves you, what brings you happiness. Because if something is not, there's no point of keeping this negativity around you, right? Because it's only going to bring you down, it's only going to drag you down, and you're just going to drag them down too. It's a sinking ship, and one of you has to leave for the other one to leave. And if that other person has to be you, it has to be you. Does that suck to do that to a person? Yes, but at the same time, they're just, you know, you're just in different points in life, and that's fine. You know, not everything will be a constant, not everything will be the same. And you have to realize that at some point in life, you have to let them go for your own betterment, for your own self-improvement. And you must be wondering, you're not a therapist. Why the heck would I listen to you? If you're here till now, you're probably interested in what I have to say. So all I'm going to say is from my experience in life, which is not that much, but I have lived vicariously through others, you know, I've lived through other people. It's important that you do what serves you and what is important to you and what brings you happiness, because you will only go down a downward spiral of life that you're just going to hate. You're always going to question your decisions. You're always going to feel this negative presence around you if you don't do what makes you happy. And I think it's important for us to realize, especially now, where the world is in a delicate space, and the only thing we can do is look out for ourselves. Obviously, don't be selfish. Don't be an asshole. But if you know there's someone or something that is not good for you, that is not, you are heading in a better place in life and they're pulling you back, maybe it's time to let that person go. Whether that be a parent, whether that be a friend or a loved one or a partner. Some things just run their course, and it's important to realize that that's it. That they've that's that's it. That's all there is to it, you know? And yeah, you know, this is more of a sit down and ranty type video, so I'm like running out of ideas to sort of say. But, you know, I think it goes without saying that we as people evolve and change on a daily basis, and we don't stay the same for very much longer. You know, we have new interests, we meet new people, we go to new places, we experience new things, and that changes us. You know, it changes our outlook in life. And I can give you a personal story if that helps contextualize things, everything I've just said. So I was friends with this person, let's call him Bob, in high school. Him and me, we were best friends, we were besties. Like actual besties, not the other kind of besties. We would... Hold up, I'm getting a call. BRB. Okay, going back to Bob. We would have lunch together, we would hang out after class, we would try to get the same classes, we would plan to hang out, we would watch movies together, we would do a lot of things together in our friend group, but we were quite close. And I cherish those memories for those 4 years. That made me who I am, that defined who I am, that I am today. But after high school, things changed. We went to different colleges. We each experienced new things, and we developed into entirely different people than we used to know each other. And slowly but surely, things just, when you get that sign that's like, maybe something's going on. We would talk less and less, and obviously we weren't meeting because he would be on the other side of the state. I would be on the other side, and we would meet less and less, talk less and less, and eventually there was no communication for like weeks at a time. And sometimes I would text, sometimes he would text, and I think we never mentioned it, but we knew that that friendship we once had was gone. It just doesn't exist anymore because we're not the same people we were a few years ago or a few months ago. And that's really important for a person to realize that sometimes it's just over. There was no reason, there was no explanation. It's just we just no longer align anymore, or one person just didn't want the other person in their life anymore, and that just happens. I chose to cherish those memories for those 4 years, and I remember high school very fondly, even though I had the most mediocre, like average person experience of all time. But still, I cherish those memories, and whenever I think back to it, I remember that friendship fondly. Yes, I could have put up walls or been like, oh my god, this person's the worst, but that doesn't suit me. That doesn't help me in any way, shape, or form. And things always change. Friendships do rekindle after a long period of time. And if you choose to put up walls and just sort of block yourself off from a person or thing or anything, it can be very difficult for you to get back into a space where you can be open again. And I often find when you think of things from a negative lens and sort of shield yourself from like, oh, this person we weren't friends anymore, let me just shield myself. You often shield yourself to more than just one person. Building walls are never a good thing unless they're for privacy reasons, obviously. But if you shelter yourself from people and from people finding the real you, or you wanting to develop friendships with the fear of people not liking you, you will just regress into a version of yourself that you don't want to be. And it is very difficult to climb out of it. And my recommendation would be for you to, again, I'm not a therapist, but I've experienced things, seen things to people that have happened very close to me. So I'm just giving you my 2 cents. It's important for you to realize what walls to build, what walls not to build, and when to let go of people, and when you've been let go. And I've seen this. This is not going to sound the best, but I have dropped friendships because I've simply outmatured them, or I just no longer feel that sort of safe space. Speaking of safe spaces, oh my god, if you no longer feel that there's a safe space with your friends, that is time to go. Because friendships are meant to be safe, they're meant to be secure, they're meant to be a space where you can be yourself. And if you don't feel that, just let them go. That also goes with relatives. I can speak from personal experience. Sometimes you just grow apart, and sometimes you just have to let people do their thing. If they don't want you, they don't want you. You just have to accept the fact and be like, oh yeah, whatever. Just be chill about it. And that's fine. Not everyone is going to like you. Not everyone wants to like you. Not everyone even wants to think about liking you, and that's fine. Just be you, and the people who want you, who want to know you, who want to be friends with you, will find their way to you. So yeah, that is friendships and just relationships in general, and how sometimes life is a piece of shit and will just end things with you. And so you just have to learn to move on and to accept the fact that things are not constant. People will not be in your life for constant periods of time, and things can rekindle, but you have to move on. You have to forge your own path away from that person and not just be this stagnant, stationary item that's like, please love me, pick me, choose me. Don't be Meredith Grey. If someone doesn't want you, be like, okay, fine, I'm good, and move on. Move on. There's no point of being stuck there, of like fixating on something or someone and just wanting it so badly or wanting to get it back when sometimes that's often the best thing. And which reminds me, things happen for the best. In friendships, in relationships, in life, it might suck so much that you didn't get what you wanted, or how a friendship or relationship ended not the way that you wanted. But if you think back to it, it happened for the right reason. It happened for your betterment, for you to get better in life. And I think people often fixate on the negative side of things and not necessarily as much on about, you know, just the positive impact maybe a negative result in your life can have. And I think it's very important to realize that sometimes it's actually for the best, you know? So, yeah, that is my rant, my 2 cents on friendships, relationships, and the nuances of it all. I wanted this video to be longer, but I can't really think of anything else to say. I've like emptied my dictionary of knowledge into you. But yeah, that is all I have for today. So yeah.